interesting heavyweight fight taking place on April 4th over in Pennsylvania in the US between unbeaten heavyweight contender Amir Mansour and former cruiserweight champion Steve Cunningham. Now, for those of you who ain't seen Amir Mansour, he's a 6'1" southpaw and he can punch. He's got pretty fast hands, seems to have decent boxing skills, but the catch is he's 41 years old. The guy spent a lot of time in prison, so his boxing career, which started a long time ago, I think it might have started in the late 90s, his boxing career. Pretty sure his boxing career started in the late 90s, but he did a hell of a lot of time in prison, and because of that, he's only just getting going now. At the age of 41, he's had 20 fights so far, 15 knockouts, and he's taken on Steve Cunningham. This is his first real test as a professional. He hasn't really fought anyone of note so far. Kind of similar set of opponents to someone like Deontay Wilder, maybe slightly better than Wilder's been facing, possibly, but fairly similar. Hasn't really faced anyone yet. But if you look at the guy training, if you look at Amir Mansour training, I mean, he's definitely a young 41-year-old, I'll tell you that. The guy's, he's got a tremendously strong, ripped physique, stays in great shape, and he's athletic, he's got quick hands. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can deal with Steve Cunningham. I think this is a very competitive fight. I don't see this being easy for either man. Some people have said it'll be easy for Steve Cunningham. Maybe he can outbox Amir Mansour. One thing I did see in Amir Mansour's last fight is he was breathing pretty heavy by the time he stopped the guy. He fought Kelvin Price. I believe that was his last fight. He fought Kelvin Price, who was a guy that was knocked out by Deontay Wilder in 2 or 3 rounds. And he took about 5 or 6 rounds, I think it was, to stop Kelvin Price. And I think maybe 6 or 7 rounds. I can't remember exactly now. I think it was 6 or 7 rounds. And yeah, even though it was a fairly one-sided fight, Kelvin Price didn't really do anything in the fight of note. Mansour was definitely huffing and puffing by the 6th or 7th round when the fight was stopped. So maybe there's stamina issues there. He is a very heavily muscled guy. He comes in, I believe he weighs around 225 to 235, somewhere around that range, but he's in good shape. He's not carrying no excess fat. He's probably a guy that does a great deal of weightlifting. I mean, I imagine when he was in prison, he was doing a lot of weightlifting. So guys with all that excess muscle, that unnatural muscle, tend to have stamina problems, especially a guy who's 41 years old. They tend to have stamina problems carrying all that unnatural muscle. And when I say unnatural muscle, it's muscle that your body wouldn't naturally have on it without doing all this weightlifting. Okay, when you look at a guy like Derek Chisora, who's the same height, 6'1", and he weighs 235, he's a natural 235. You don't have to push a bunch of weights to build up his body to 235. It's natural. Whereas Amir Mansour, to me, looks like a guy who has been pushing a lot of weights for a lot of years, and he's got his body bulked up to that size. So I don't know. Maybe Steve Cunningham might be able to take the fight down a stretch, but I think Amir Mansour is going to be dangerous early in the fight. Steve Cunningham's a little bit taller, around 6'3". Thinks Cunningham's probably got the longer arms. So he might, I don't know, it's an interesting fight. I'm not sure if it's a 10 or a 12. Let me just check if it's a 10 or a 12 round fight. Let me check. Okay, I'm on BoxRec here. Doesn't say if it's a 10 or a 12 round fight. It's for the USBA heavyweight title. I'm assuming because it's for some type of title, it's probably a 12 round. I don't even know. Let me know, man. If you know any better than me, if it's a 10 or a 12 round fight for USBA heavyweight title, please let me know. But if it's a 12 round fight, I might go with Steve Cunningham. Man, to win on points. I think this fight probably will go to points, because Cunningham knows that Amir Mansour can punch. He knows that. Steve Cunningham, even though he did drop Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury can be clumsy and he's a very big target, whereas Amir Mansour is a much shorter guy, very quick hand, southpaw, big puncher. I don't think Steve Cunningham is going to be trying to throw bombs like that in this fight. I think he's just going to go on the back foot and box, use his, little bit of extra height and reach, and just try and go for a points victory. So, I don't know. I think it's a very intriguing fight. Steve Cunningham possibly take it on points if it's 12 rounds, but I can see Amir Mansour having success himself, especially in the first half of the fight, where he's going to be putting the pressure on. So, yeah, if you know about these two fighters, drop your prediction below. How do you see the fight going down? And if you haven't seen Amir Mansour before, just YouTube him. You'll see probably a few of his fights on there by now. So, yeah, drop your comments below. Let me know how you feel about this one. This is Hatman. I'm out.